Merry Christmas and welcome to the season finale of Prize Corner, the FNaF merch review show that isn't usually themed like this, but being Christmas and all that, I thought it would be a great time to look at Funko's new line of holiday FNaF merchandise that was released earlier this year. I was conflicted on what wave out of the three I wanted to review, but then I had a horrible idea. Let's review all of them in one big special video. Merry Christmas! Me? It isn't as taxing as it sounds. With pretty much all of these products just being reskins of pre-existing merch that I've either already reviewed or plan to shortly after this video, I don't have all too much to say about these. And even less when comparing the Santa Freddy pop to the Santa Freddy figure. But it'll still be fun to have a more relaxed and purely fun review for once. This is foreshadowing right here, okay? This was not more relaxed. I treated the scripting of this video like it was any other video, and I severely regret that. This video is going to be the death of me. These items are completely original to Funko with no source in the games to be found. Weird, but it's better than Freddy but blue. All it really means for this video is that I won't really be referring to anything while reviewing them, just kind of giving my first opinions based on how they look. Without further ado, let's jump into the first wave, as this video is going to be long enough as is. How's that for a short intro? The Pops, which of course are all based on the original Wave 1 Funko Pops I reviewed for my second Prize Corner video. So go watch that after this video to know my thoughts on the original figures. Obviously, I'll be comparing the two sets a lot here. Starting with Santa Freddy. As usual, let's look at the box. It is themed pretty well with checks and snowflakes, but I love how this candy cane design is used to split the colors at the bottom. It's a nice touch. Whoa, that was quick. Out of the box, Santa Freddy is, wow, surprisingly well made. Like, I don't really know what the common consensus about these figures is, but I'm loving this approach to merch. The tie-dye and blacklight stuff was so ridiculously lazy that I'm surprised Funko cared at all, actually. But these two, at least Freddy here, looks charming as hell. I'm not gonna say he's perfect, I mean, top teeth. But there is a lot of good here that I don't want to downplay. The red Santa hat fits Freddy well, and the bell is molded nicely even if the matte color looks a little strange. I really love that the one ear that's covered can still be poking out from the hat. It's really nice when merch thinks about that kind of thing instead of just pretending it never existed. I like that they made his eyebrows less mad and more compassionate. It's a cute detail I'm surprised they changed. And while I get that Santa has rosy cheeks, the red nose looks kinda bad. The body is high quality as well. I love his big fat tummy, and the posing with the hand on the belt is almost enough to make me ignore that he is man standing. I love how shiny his rubber boots are, and the sack of coal he's carrying is so good. I won't lie, this bag is probably the best part of his design. Weird it's exclusive to the pop. The coal is genuinely really funny. I like to imagine all of that's going to Fazbear Entertainment employees. Although this drawstring is extremely flimsy and I know it's going to break anytime soon. That being said, as much as this body is quality, it really has nothing to do with Freddy past the bow tie. Like, flip his head around and he just looks like a dollar store Santa toy, which is a bit lame. Maybe they could have had it be all torn up with endo parts poking through or something else, but hey, at least this outfit wasn't just painted onto his suit. I hate that kind of thing. In conclusion, I'm very surprised with how good this figure actually looks. And as the start of this set, I'm kind of in love. So even though some parts are a little generic and look a bit off, I mean, look at how flat he is under the coat, I still think this is a fantastic figure for what it is. A solid 8 out of 10. I actually think it's slightly better than the original Pop, honestly. Wow, what a crazy plot twist. Funko's weird business decisions actually make for good products? Let's see how long that lasts. Next up is the Pop for Elf Bonnie. Definitely the least interesting of the character choices in my opinion, but here he is anyway. Next up is Freddy's right-hand man, but for real this time. This figure is probably the one that stays the most consistent through all three appearances, so unfortunately Elf Bonnie's last two segments are going to be kind of uneventful, but let's get into it anyway. Something interesting about the box I want to mention is that it seems like they stopped using concept art for the images of the characters on the front of the box, so at least that little bit of false advertising is gone. But I can't quite tell if that was to fix an actual problem and to make the boxes just look better, or if Funko is just lazy and doesn't want to redraw the characters like this. It's a welcome change at least. Elf Bonnie is super generic for this series. I mean, sure, Freddy is too, but he's Freddy. He kinda needs to be Santa, so I can excuse it. So with how creative the last three characters get with their designs, Elf Bonnie just isn't the best. First things first, his colors are super weird. He is this cloudy dark blue with cyan accents, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't kinda like it. What I don't love is that they somehow forgot his freckles, or maybe that was on purpose. Either way, it looks off. I love the suit. Green really fits the blue, and the red bow tie fits the whole color scheme. although the candy cane feels out of place. Maybe give him like a gift box. You could even make it like the FNaF World ones. I mean, the candy cane works, but a different figure already has one and actually does something creative with it. So this just kind of feels like a waste. His shoes are not given enough room, so they just look really stubby. And because of that, the puffball is also painted horribly. His ears are also crowded, but it feels a little bit more on purpose as they wanted to make way for the hat, which is pretty charming. I like how they just shoved it out of the way, and I also love that he couldn't just put it over one ear like Freddy did, since his are much bigger. That being said, I don't know if I actually like the hat. The color is nice, but it looks awkward in this position. But I can at least say that I appreciate them for trying to do something different here. Do I have to say it? Man standing, obviously. The only reason I'm still pointing it out is because one figure in the set bothered to be a little bit different. Yeah, get pumped. This was sort of the case for Freddy, but it is much more obvious here. They clearly didn't want you to move the head, as it has so much resistance. And there's even an indent for the suit on the head. I know it's like the brand and all, but if you didn't want it to move, then don't make it movable? I mean, that's what you did with the special delivery minis, so clearly it's not impossible for you to change. And for one last obvious negative, why an elf? I mean, elves are known for 3 things: being Santa's helpers, being small, and having pointy ears. I mean, you aren't even gonna give him fake ones? Yeah, Elf was a horrible pick for Bonnie. He just looks like a green Santa. Kinda lame if I'm being honest. Yeah, if it wasn't clear already, I'm not a huge fan of this design. This isn't the worst version of him, but it also isn't my favorite. In general, I think this was a poorly thought out idea that is only really saved by the colors they gave him. Kinda sad. Even though I do think it is better than classic Bonnie, I don't really want to give him a 6, so Pop Elf Bonnie gets a 4 out of 10. That may seem harsh, but this is the only design that I think doesn't sell it. I mean, it isn't even the worst one, but at least those make sense. This is just random to me, and I feel nothing for it. That paired with all of the weird decisions, and this rating fits for me. Moving right along from a character I feel absolutely nothing for to one I have some strong opinions on, Gingerbread Foxy. But will they be good or bad opinions? Only time will tell. What is up with the newer merch lines and saving Chica till the end? I love Chica, and even I think this is a weird choice. Like, wouldn't you want to end it with the most popular characters? But no, apparently Funko and Youtooz both think Foxy should just be in the middle here. Anyway, Gingerbread Foxy is the only pop here to not change the base model and just kinda recolors Foxy to a less appealing color. I thought we were reviewing the Christmas characters, not the tie-dyes. I don't think this is a horrible idea, it's just that the execution sucks, because going all in would require making a new character design, and that's too much for Funko, except when they do it one pop over for a way less popular character. Who at Funko is in love with Chica? When you think Gingerbread Man, you think a flat cookie, not a repainted poop-colored Foxy. They made some parts of him flat, like the hair tuft on his head, and the icing used to make accents in the outlines looks really cool, but it's all just an illusion. You expect me to bake this? You may think I'm overreacting, but Funko clearly knows how to make this look cool because they have made gingerbread pops before that look exactly as I'm describing. One even this year. So they know what to do. They just refuse to do it because that requires effort. And for some reason, Foxy is where they lost that here. How? Okay, let's talk about the actual design. Since Funko didn't make him an actual gingerbread man, they just kind of colored random parts of his body, so he isn't just a brown and white Foxy. And I'm sure it's supposed to look like icing, but this doesn't look like icing! You could have made it bunch up at the end like it was from a knife that spread it on, but nope, just solid paint. And some of these choices make no sense and just look bad. Like, why green pants? Green on Foxy never looks good. And why paint his toes red? Those aren't even supposed to be cookie. Other parts of his endo aren't painted, so why here? Speaking of his endo being painted, it isn't. His endo is light gray. I've said this over and over, but making Foxy's endo gray does not look good. It looks bad, in fact. Your old Foxy was so cool looking with the shiny silver paint. Why would you change this? And not even make it on theme? Why isn't the endo painted like brown? Like chocolate, or I don't know, any other color that looks appetizing? I don't want to eat a cookie that has light gray legs. This almost makes it a good thing they didn't include the endo in his chest like the original. I mean, that gray creeping in would make him look even worse. Wait, Funko. Why do you keep changing the actual good parts of your Foxy design? I assume for cost cutting, but come on, this is just depressing. Like, why remove the endo in his chest and change the silver endo, but not remove the eye patch string or the top teeth on the other characters? This is so frustrating. To be fair, the things that did actually change look good, if not a little cheesy. Like the candy cane hook is funny, and the peppermint eye patch looks, well, it looks unique, I guess. I'm sorry, but this thing sucks. This pathetic excuse for a Christmas pop could have worked as a mini pop in the advent calendar, but as a full release next to the other 3 creative and well thought out designs? No way! This is just sad. So for being an overall disappointing weak link in a pretty solid series, Pop Gingerbread Foxy is getting a 2 out of 10. It's really disappointing. I really love the idea of an edible animatronic whose suit is made out of candy, who is slowly being destroyed by kids and other hungry customers. You could even have a bite taken out of him with the character's endo poking out. Wouldn't that be funny? It seems like something Fazbear Entertainment would actually experiment with, and it sucks the idea was wasted here. Okay, yeah, they have done this. And Funko 2 more times. And it was like a billion times better. This is getting sad, guys. Oh, right, man standing. As is custom, Chica was saved for last. Is this because Funko was ashamed of what they've created? Or did they just want to go out with a bang? Let's find out as we take a look at Pop Snow Chica. Snow Chica has the best theming here, hands down. Where Bonnie, Freddy, and half of Foxy just said, put them in clothes! With Chica, they actually decided to change her full design. And I really mean her full design. Nothing here is old or borrowed from something else. It is completely original aside from the basic shape of Chica. And from a series, no, a company who reuses designs at all possible moments. This is a kind of weird. Not weird as in bad, weird as in what company made this? Like, this genuinely looks like a fantastic AR skin, but actually this was a fully original Funko creation. And looking at some of their others, this is shocking to say the least. But hey, most of Balloon Circus went above and beyond, so maybe they just had to change of heart. But if that's the case, what is with the other figures here? Well, most of them aren't bad. Santa Freddy is actually really great. All of these pale in comparison to the work of art that is Snow Chica. But how about we actually talk about her instead of just marveling at the fact that she even exists? Snow Chica is obviously based on a snowman, and that idea is fully utilized here. She is made up of 3 balls of snow, all of which are lumpy and rough, some seemingly even melting, which just adds so much. If this was literally 3 smooth balls, I mean, yeah, I'd expect that from Funko, but no, it seems like they actually cared to make her interesting. And you see those melting parts? Notice how they're all coming from one side of her? Like the sun was shining from just that direction? That is an insane detail I would have never imagined. I'm impressed. Now earlier I said I was still counting the man standingness of this wave because one figure chose to be different for once, and that is this figure. She doesn't even have legs, meaning that she can't be standing. It was a great choice that they clearly didn't have to do. Figure. But I'm happy they did, because now Snow Chica stands out. Not only when next to these guys, but against almost all FNaF pops. Except for Twisted Foxy. You go, girl. Now, I'm sure some people are going to complain, still seeing this as man standing, but to me, not having legs is enough to be different. I mean, look back at Twisted Foxy, the gold standard for anti-man standing. This guy is buried in dirt up to his chest, but he still does have legs, just under the pile. So if Snow Chica is man standing, that means that this guy is too, and you just can't argue that. Of course, she is more than just white balls, with all of her classic features made up by classic snowman ones. I would just fire through them like I usually do, but while I was writing, I kept having to break it up because I had something special to say about all of it. So instead, we are going point by point here. I'll start with the one part of this figure I'm not a fan of, the weird blue gloves. Her hands unfortunately couldn't escape the clenched fists, but instead of just being plain hands, they have fingerless gloves, which are blue and gray with these little pouches on them. Okay. I mean, they don't look bad, but this just kind of doesn't fit with the design and the existing color scheme. And while I'm not mad Snow Chica doesn't have a snow cupcake, as amazing as that would have been, I mean, why not make the gloves pink to at least represent the cupcake? Like I said, it's not a big deal, it's just one weird choice I can't get behind. One thing I do love about her arms is the exposed endo, showing that her body, or at least her arms, are held together by sticks. This is hilarious, and while the figure would expand on this, I think that this is where it's done better. Just the slightest glimpse into her makeshift arms. And of course, I love that her different arm segments are all made too. It would have been so easy to just make this arm one solid snow piece. Or just the sticks. But this feels so much more special to me. Her eyebrows are leaves, just being slapped on haphazardly, which is exactly the touch this needed to look just like Chica. This perfectly captures that. I mean, look at how dopey she looks, and the green really ties this whole design together. Without those two leaves, I fear it would all look a bit samey. The hat isn't representing anything, but the scarf is clearly meant to be a stand-in for her bib. Isn't that so smart? Maybe you could see the hat as her feathers, but that's probably a reach. Either way, these items look great on her. Her beak is pretty much the same, but the texture is changed to have these lines on it, which is supposed to represent a carrot. This is one of the weaker aspects of this pop. I still like it. The texture and look makes it all worth it. But I love that, for the most part, all of this figure could be made in real life. And this is definitely a nitpick, but no carrot looks like that. But really, it's not a big deal. Like I said, it looks funny and I like it. Okay, the coal teeth look stupid, just make her mouth empty. And saving the most impressive for last, her eyes and buttons are made out of coal. I wonder if Freddy supplied them. This means that they aren't just the uniform black orbs that the rest of these have. And it looks incredible. I love when Funko does creative things with their traditional eyes. It makes it feel so special when they change it up. The coal also left some black residue around where the eyes were placed, meaning that she has some black around her eyes. Wait. Black around her? No way. Funko, you did not. Did you really take one of my least favorite features of Funko Pop Chica and made it a good thing? Holy shit. I love how uneven she is. Like, she isn't all uniformly in one piece like most FNaF designs. Her hat is falling off, her eyebrows are placed weird, her eyes are lumpy, and I know it might sound strange, but Snow Chica here being so weird makes her feel so fresh and unique. I love what they did to this figure. It's a breath of fresh air and a hopeful sign of things to come. Funko, I may shit on you a lot in this video, but you did a great job here. And a great job recently in general. Keep this up and maybe opinions will change about you. Or not, I have no idea. Snow Chica is going to get a 9 out of 10. High? Yes. Not deserved? Yeah, maybe, but I still think this is a great figure. And in comparison with the other pops, 100%, this is one of Funko's best. And hey, we can add this to the list of merch I can make in real life instead of wasting 15 bucks on it. Okay, maybe not. In conclusion, the FNaF holiday pops are strange to say the least. They aren't the most interesting figures, but they don't have to be. They are simple holiday cash grabs not based on anything from the games. The fact that these aren't all garbage is a complete mystery to me. I'm going to give the FNaF Funko Pop Holiday Wave a 6 out of 10. Well, 2 of them are amazing and some of Funko's best. 2 were just kinda not great, but I'm feeling generous, and overall, this is a lot better than what Funko could have made. Show ugly Pez dispenser pops. Like, goddamn, we really dodged a bullet here. Here's the updated tier list. It's really interesting to see how these all fit in here. Thank you all for watching. This video was a lot of... Wait, how long is this video? Oh, right. Sorry, we still have 10 more products to review. I just finished 4. Oh, this was supposed to be a simple video. I'll be showing the fully updated list at the very end of the video, but I'll give updates after each set is complete. Funko's action figures are not something I've gotten to yet. I really want to review these and the plushies as well, but with Christmas not exactly being a date you can push back, I needed to save those reviews for after this video. So I will not be going into details about my opinions on the line that these original figures are obviously based on. But of course, I'm also not going to shy away from talking about what the originals did right and wrong. Just make sure to check out that review once I post it if you want to know my thoughts on them. The holiday figures feature the same 4 designs as the pop, with 1 extra bonus courtesy of Walmart. But of course, let's start by diving into Santa Freddy. Yes, these don't have set numbers, but I might as well cover them in the same order I did the pops. Breaking the continuity and taking a look at Elf Bonnie first because he was just the best quality box when I received him, this packaging is more of the same that we saw with Pops. But without the need to include the regular Pop template, these look a lot better, as the whole thing being red is better than mostly white. The checkered wall behind the figure is honestly really charming, and the snowflakes look good too. But the nameplate could have used a little more work, just being a weird colored pattern. These pride flags are getting crazy, SMH. Overall, this theme is good. I just wish there was a bit more FNaF with the Christmas, you know? The first thing you notice when I unwrap Freddy here is that the design is almost identical to Pop Freddy, which was expected, but with most of these figures being so similar, I'm excited to see what differences these do have. For one, yeah, they aren't really wearing the outfits. It isn't as bad as I first thought. They really tried hard to minimize the joints while still making them move, but they just didn't do an amazing job. Just kind of painting them red. It just looks like the clothes, especially the pants, are just kind of spray painted on, with the legs still having the knee pads for some reason. The arms look a lot better, not having the signature segmented ball arms these usually have. But because of that, his arms look way too skinny. For some reason, the hands have better articulation. You can move them back and forth as well as spinning them, which is strange. You know what? I'll give them one thing. There is actually a pelvis underneath his coat. It looks weird being just all red, but it's something, all right? His head looks about the same as the regular figure. Frustrating reappearing top teeth and all. Like, guys, I thought we fixed this. Except for the red accents, of course. But the weird cheeks I already didn't like here are just shoved way past his cheeks on the side of his head. That isn't right. The hat looks great here, best I can say. So this is gonna sound weird and definitely not something I can portray on video, but Freddy is made of 3 different materials, making him feel really weird. Like, his face is made of that traditional vinyl plastic, and so are the limbs. But the boots down here are more of a hard plastic with a sort of slippery feeling, which fits, obviously, they are boots. But then the torso is like a hard, cheap feeling plastic. Why? The rest of him worked, so why make the biggest part of him feel like crap? Hopefully my mic can pick up the noise of my tapping so you can get an idea of what I mean. What an annoying choice. To be nice for a second, the legs look wonderful. Well, below the knees they do. They are nice and chunky with the suit bunching up at the boots. And honestly, that shine they have looks perfect. I just wish they put this much effort into the rest of the figure and not just the feet. And that's about it for what they bothered to include. You may have noticed something missing. Yeah, Freddy's sack of coal from the pop just isn't here. Great. Maybe they couldn't figure out how to make it work, but just keep it closed. Not having anything here just makes you look lazy. I mean, Elf Bonnie got to keep his candy cane. And with these two being the only ones to carry an accessory, yeah, Bonnie looks even more out of place. Look, this figure isn't like horrible or anything, but it is a perfect showcase of my biggest problem with this line of figures. These cutesy themed designs just don't work with the larger animatronics of the traditional games. As pops and plushies, yeah, the stylized look really fits them. This feels right and warranted, but as detailed yet very limiting figures, it just doesn't look quite right on any of these. For example, look at his big fat tummy. Yeah, this looks cute. I love that the belt actually compresses it and it wrinkles the coat. That looks really nice, which makes it even worse as it doesn't fit with the rest of this basic ass temple ass figure. The rest of the body just stands out and looks so weird. Just another skinny person wanting to be chubby, SMH. Figure Santa Freddy will be getting a 3 out of 10. This thing just looks bad and shouldn't have been made, but it isn't abysmal or anything, but yeah, I'm not really a fan. With the next figure being Elf Bonnie, let's just say I'm very scared about my viewer retention rate. But hey, maybe that accessory will send him straight to S tier. Yeah, I bet. I want to start by saying that this figure is better than the pop, which is a little sad to be saying as I still don't have any opinions on him either way. His shoes look less squished. They gave him his tail back. Oh shoot, the pop removed the tail. I totally forgot about that. So why did they forget to remove it here? I like the green coat better than the red one that Freddy has. But I don't know, that one just kind of felt like it made more sense. This one does look better than Santa Freddy, but like, I also don't really care about it. Like, at all. What about that prop? What does he got? He comes with that candy cane I already critiqued last time for not making a whole lot of sense. Cool. But this one is sharp on the end, maybe insinuating that he's gonna use it as a weapon? Probably not, but still. Yeah, about that accessory. It's incredibly hard to fit into his hand. Funko has had a long history of problems with fitting these accessories in the character's hands, so I feel like this is, overcompensating. Any other problems that I might have with this figure, I already complained about with the pop or the Santa Freddy figure, so I feel like the best course of action is to just move on. Yes, I do like this one slightly more, but only enough for like a 5 out of 10. Like, I just don't give enough of a shit to really hate this thing. Okay, this is really dumb, but I like the dark green that they used on his legs. It looks kind of nice. Of course, since I'm covering these in the same order as the pops, Gingerbread Foxy is next. And as I already really hate the pop, I can't see this being much better. But hey, I didn't see that coming for Elf Bonnie, so maybe I'll give him an extra point. Who knows? He has an extra gumdrop button because his torso is so long, and one of them is cut off, which is kind of neat. Oh, he actually has his endo in his chest. His candy cane got shorter? Okay. I got nothing. This figure is just so nothing at all to me. It's based on the original action figure, so overall it's more accurate, and the peppermint looks slightly less way too big, but still way too big. But that's kind of all I got. I mean, I can't even decide which one looks better. It changes pretty much every time I look at them. Like, yeah, the figure looks better in general, but the pop fits with the theming more. The weird large robot just doesn't look good like this. But both of them look like shit, so I'll just give them a 2 out of 10 as well. I know the pop wasn't much better, but wow, this is the laziest figure in the wave. Are you kidding me with this? They might not be exactly equal in quality, but like, it's pretty damn close. Sorry I had nothing to say here. Almost all of my real complaints are the exact same problems I had with the pop, so I know it seems like this video is going to go by quick from this point. I mean, what more do I have to say? But I promise you that the video will be a lot more interesting from here. I mean, yes, when we get to the plushies, because they aren't just the pops, but stretched out worse, but also with these last 2 figures who, for better or for worse, tried to do something different. But of course, we'll start with Snow Chica, whose pop I adored. So maybe this figure will be just as good. This series really needs a win. We can see a lot of the things I loved about the pop returning. The beak, the wonky eyebrows, the hat and the scarf, and even the directional melty bits, as well as the coal eyes and buttons. But unfortunately, the eyes just don't look as good. The pops were more rounded and of course had the black residue on the snow around her eyes. But here they're almost flat in there and the snow is as clean as ever. But that doesn't mean I hate them. It's just that they aren't as good as what the pop did, which I'll be saying a lot here. I actually kind of love the smooth, glossy texture that they have, even if it doesn't make a lot of sense and should be rougher, but whatever. So, the obvious difference between the two is that the figure leans more into the idea that this is an animatronic, as where the other one simply wanted to be a snowman made to look like Chica, which is honestly smart considering what these figures' joints look like. The sticks she had holding her arms together are a lot more prominent here, and I quite like it. It contrasts with the snow of her body quite well, but I'm sure that isn't the big difference you noticed. For the figure, Snow Chica was given legs and feet, and not the round snowball body the pop had. This seems like it should be a negative, but I actually kinda like this more. Don't get me wrong, the Snowman 3 balls looks way better in the long run, and I'm glad that the pop went with that. But for this figure, I think it was a great choice to make her stand out a little more, well fitting the more consistent style of the figures. But yeah, it's a little weird that they put all that extra effort into making this complicated dress model for Liberty Chica, but not 2 balls for Snow Chica. Strange priorities. Her legs are literally just logs shoved into big chunky snow boots, and it is so charming. The logs are modeled really well with this nice texture, and they aren't even just brown cylinders, they both have nubs of branches sticking out of them, which is a small thing, but it adds a lot. And they also did something that Funko never cares to do. They hid the joints on her legs, just making it look like it was part of the log that was whittled out. Wow. I mean, everywhere else they are just sitting there, but whatever. At least they tried where it mattered. Usually they don't try at all. These boots are the same material that Freddy had, so it's really nice and shiny. These legs, for being a clear afterthought, really tie this figure together. Okay, so as much as I can forgive a lot of parts of this design for just trying to fit the style, the thighs look so bad. Like her pelvis and them just sticking out so much, it really looks lazy. Why can't her pelvis just be part of the torso? Why draw that line there? Well, this figure was clearly based on the original Chica model, and it is very noticeable. That isn't a huge deal, but well, the pop was so unique. This figure is too, but something lazy like the thighs here hurt it quite a bit. But like I said, I don't hate the look of this thing. I like that it's separate from the pop. It wouldn't have worked as well if it was directly translated. And I actually think that Fazbear Entertainment would totally make a snowman come to life just to like sell snow cones or, I don't know, keep a body cold. And I could totally see this design in a Christmas special delivery event if that game wasn't abandoned. In conclusion, while I do love this figure a lot, honestly, it's one of the best figures Funko has ever made, I still think it doesn't work as well as the pop did. So I'll be giving Snow Chica an 8 out of 10. I really want to make it clear how much I appreciate that this wasn't just Chica but white, because they easily could have gone that route, but they actually tried here, and it shows by how much I have to say about it. I really love the legs. They honestly look great, and I'm happy that the pop and the figure aren't the same exact design, with one being a lot worse. I love that Snow Chica can exist with both of these amazing designs. Let's hope that the plush keeps up this trend. As I alluded to already, there was one last figure in this set that wasn't made as a pop. The figure and the plush version as well were both exclusive to Walmart. So for all these weird exclusivities, will this figure properly show us how this set could have worked if they were simply designed around them? Let's find out. Nutcracker Foxy. This thing is so unbearably ugly. I mean, ignoring the fact that they made him fucking orange, his face is weirdly stretched out. And yes, I'm aware that's to give him the impression that he's a real Nutcracker, but it doesn't matter, as I'm sorry, but most Nutcrackers I've seen aren't this long in the face, right? He looks really angry for some reason, and while I do actually like how the teeth look painted on, nothing is going to save this monstrosity from being the worst of any of these waves. Is what I said a few weeks ago. When these figures were first revealed, I despised this thing. And to a degree, I still do. It is so ugly and doesn't even look official. It looks like a bootleg Foxy. The quality control went completely out the window after they made Snow Chica. Funko is trash, all the designers who made it are horrible people. Good day, sir. But I don't fully agree with that anymore. Yes, the face of this thing is just horrible, but when I actually got my hands on it, I realized that this box was doing irreparable damage to this guy's image, refusing to let us fans see anything but his face. And when I finally removed him from it, I started to rethink everything. Except for the face, that never really grew on me. But for now, let's just forget about the face and truly appreciate how well made Nutcracker Foxy really is. He has this comedically large hat with a nice cross design on it and a gold pattern around the back of it. And in the front, it has this little jewel pendant. And I hope that you can see how weirdly detailed this figure is already. Onto the body, he has these beautiful gold accents on his suit with these buttons and the paint that connects them. And I like the nice silver belt buckle. Man, that belt is really squeezing him, huh? Man's got that hourglass figure. The shoulders have these lovely tassels in gold. And I think now is a good time to mention that they gave him his silver paint back for his hook. What the hell? His other hand has this wood texture on it that looks really great. Like they forgot to paint it and he's unfinished. Oh hey, just like the head. The texture is one of my favorite parts from his design. The boots aren't shiny like Freddy and Snow Chica's were, but that makes sense as Foxy is supposed to be painted wood. I hope you can now see why I think so highly of certain parts of this figure. But we haven't even got to the coolest part of him yet. Remember how I complained about the figure's joints and how crappy they were, leading to them either getting floppy or just falling off all the time? Well, Nutcracker Foxy here has actual articulation on his arms. Like, really. Posable, solid, sturdy, and normal articulation. Oh, my prayers have been answered. Sure, it's just here as the legs are just solid and part of his outfit. Oh, hey, another thing I complained about with the other figures being fixed with this one. I guess giving them real clothing wasn't impossible. And the hands and feet still come off, but you know what? That's okay, because even just those two parts of articulations make this figure so much more resilient. And while I can't quite speak on the long run of this, I can at least say that it seems to me that this is a massive improvement that I'm 100% Funko will never do again. One thing I unfortunately have to say about Nutcracker Foxy is that he just will not stand up. I didn't really notice this when I was first talking about him, but yeah, man, it is so hard to get him to stand. His entire body is so top heavy and his little tiny feet just can't support his weight. Just make sure that once you get in the pose that you want, you aren't going to want to change it anytime soon. Now that's all well and good. I feel like I've made my arguments well, but we still have yet to get to the thing that completely flipped what I thought I knew about Nutcracker Foxy. The morning before I wrote my original draft of the review, I had looked through the packaging and saw something I've never noticed before. A lever on Foxy's back. Oh cool, they actually modeled a lever like a Nutcracker would have. That's actually a really nice detail. I then wrote the beginning of a very negative and sarcastic review. It was only later, while I was at work, that I stopped and thought for a moment. Wait, does his mouth actually move? I rushed to my phone and looked at a review with 400 views, and guess what? It does. A Funko action figure has a play feature. The line of products who refused to make a system for animatronics to hold string instruments included a movable mouth on Nutcracker Foxy. I mean, I saw the seams in his mouth, but my dumbass thought this was just an illusion to make you think his mouth could open. I'm a good reviewer, shut up. So then, my gears started turning. I realized why so much of him looked so weird. And then I really looked at his body and his joints, and I finally decided to take him out of the box. And it finally clicked in my brain how well thought out all of this was, and needless to say, if I hadn't realized that when I did, this view would be a lot more biased. Because I was literally judging this figure by the cover of the box. Look, the raised part of the mouth even has like endo teeth. This is so cool. Who made this figure? Oh, right. As much as I love everything this figure stands for and what it brought to the table, I mean, so many of my problems with the Funko action figures are straight up fixed here. Holy shit, he is so ugly. Why is he so ugly? I know he's a Nutcracker, but why does that equal orange and ugly? The plush wasn't orange. What the hell happened, you guys? We're doing so good. As much as I love this figure, I also kinda hate it. Nutcracker Foxy is getting a reluctant 7 out of 10. I tried to give him higher, didn't work. I tried to give him lower, didn't work. 7 is the score that seemed right to me, even if that even seems wrong. I just want to be nice, as this figure means a lot to me, and it's what I'd call my guilty pleasure merch. You know, an item that kinda sucks, but I like it anyway. Ironically or not. Rest assured, if his face wasn't so fucking ugly, I would have given him even better. Sorry, buddy. You were so close to being the exact change I wanted to see. But now, unfortunately, if I try to fight for more figures like you, people will just think I want more ugly, inaccurate messes. Oh well. And that was all of the Christmas figures reviewed. Yeah, I didn't have as much to say about these guys than I did with the Pops. Those were creative and fun, and these were, let's be real, cheap and lazy. Well, with 2 obvious exceptions. And even though these figures aren't all that bad, well, they just could have been better, plain and simple. I'll be giving the FNaF holiday figures a 4 out of 10. But trust me, those last 2 figures are doing some real heavy lifting. You guys are lucky this wasn't a 3. Here's the updated tier list, and phew, only 1 more set to go. But I have a feeling these are going to be the hardest to review yet. The plushies. Once again, I have yet to review the Wave 1 Funko plushies, but it matters a lot less here as the Funko plushies have went through a lot more differences than you might first think. For example, most of them now have these eye rings, which I quite like. It can make some plushies look really tired, but usually it just adds some much needed depth to these models while making those white ping pong ball eyes a little less awkward. But of course, I'll make sure to bring up any other differences I can think of during the review. Just like the last 2, I'll be starting with Santa Freddy yet again. Yeah, it's one of those plushies that look really tired. I know I said I liked the eyes, but trust me, it looks a lot better on Foxy's. And especially Bonnie's. Actually, it's really just Freddy's that look consistently bad. Well, with a few exceptions. Lefty genuinely looks amazing with those rings. Okay, I'm completely off topic. I just wanted to defend my decision for a moment. I promise it looks fine on the others. Santa Freddy has some weird coloring, and a lot of people already think the fur of the original plush is too light, even though it's the most accurate Freddy color I've ever seen on merch. But for some reason, they made it even lighter. He just looks like a loaf of bread, especially with how square his face is now. Why did they make his head shape different? The original was perfect. Although this would look amazing as a withered Freddy plush, but not a classic Freddy. Speaking of colors being wrong, why are his eyes yellow? Freddy's eyes are blue. The original Funko plushie's eyes were blue. Hell, the Santa Freddy figure's eyes were blue. Is there some lore about Santa that I missed that states that his eyes are yellow specifically when he's a plushie? If not, then why was this changed? And why are his ears pointier now? What is up with these weird ass changes? We haven't even gotten to the worst part, his body. It is all prints on fabric. This isn't always awful, but here, his entire outfit is just printed on, meaning that all of his lower half is just flat. It looks like somebody drew a sketch of him, cut it out, and then glued it to the finished product. This looks terrible. This isn't the only plush to do this, but it is easily one of the worst. Alright, if I have to be fair, which I don't, but I'll be nice. His Santa hat looks really nice. It's made out of this fake silk stuff that Funko loves using to ruin AR skins, but as a Santa hat, it works and isn't too overwhelming. And the rim and the puffy ball actually being fluffy was a huge surprise. I was half expecting them to be flat textures on a small sheet of stiff material, but it actually looks really nice and feels it too. Why they did it here and not for his cuff when they gave that to both Bonnie and the big version of him is a mystery that will frustrate me forever. Now, for my favorite thing about this plush, and the main saving grace, the ear is actually under the hat. Remember when I praised the Pop for just alluding to that being the case? Well, here it's actually true, and I love this. This is such an un-Funko-like move to make, and it is so cool. Even if the rest of the product is mediocre, I still hold this plushie in higher regards because of this. Santa Freddy may not have improved on his Pop design, but at least he didn't downgrade it too much. 5 out of 10. Yeah, at least this has an excuse for being different. The figure just gave up. I just wish the same amount of creativity that they gave to his hat was shown to the rest of him. Okay, so before I move on, I need to confess something. I didn't buy the mega version of this plush. I wanted to get everything Funko made for this wave and review it, but I just couldn't justify spending $30 on an oversized version of a plush I don't really like. And then when it went on sale for $20, I realized I just didn't want this thing in my house at all. But since I'm covering everything else and it's Christmas, I thought I'd break my rules this one time. But here, if it helps, I'll edit this picture of him onto the set. Please give me this. I really don't want to buy this fucking plush. This looks quite a bit better, actually, which is surprising as I thought it would just be the original but scaled up. But they actually fixed some problems I had with the original, such as the eyes, which now have embroidered rings instead of the fabric ones, helping him look a little more confused, which to be fair is better than done with the world. But the main thing that was fixed was less flat looking clothing. You can see this most prominently on his cuffs, which are now the same puffy material he has on his hat, and his belt buckle, which was raised. This is a huge improvement and actually makes the plush look so much better. But for some reason they took away his pants. What? How does... Okay. It looks weird, but honestly, this should have been how all the plushies were made. While I like the full outfits they have on the pops, the figures and plushies don't exactly work with this. They should have just given them the jackets and let the legs be bare so it didn't look so weird. But whatever, it's just a suggestion. I actually kind of like this thing. If this is what the actual plush looked like, I might have loved it. But as it is an annoying variant of him that I refuse to buy, I can't give him that many props. But I can spare a 6 out of 10. Maybe that sounds really silly, but I actually think this is a good design. It's just that they, for some reason, kept it from us and gave us a much worse one. Now these two are just a frustrating duo. The clear underdog of this video has been Elf Bonnie. Sure, I hate Gingerbread Foxy more, but at least I have anything to say about him. Elf Bonnie here, I just can't care about him. But with one last item in this wave, maybe this will be his time to shine. Oh. Hell yeah, it is. Look, guys, I'm not gonna say Elf Bonnie is the best plushie or something, but it is crazy to me how good he is compared to the other versions. With the pop and the figure, I couldn't help but ask, how were some of these design choices supposed to work? Well, now I have my answer. It's as a plushie, that's how. He isn't flawless, obviously. The material used for Freddy's hat returns for Bonnie's, but they also used it for his coat? Why? But I am reluctant to say that I hate it, as it does look less flat than Freddy's coat, but it doesn't exactly look great. Especially with that horrible print-on stuff returning in exactly the same way. And I mean exactly, like this is the same design that they just copy and pasted over. This seems on purpose. Who at Funko got even lazier than usual? I still think the between the ears thing looks a little strange. And even more if you look to the back, where you can see it's just like really crumpled and wrinkly. I really don't know how this got past the design phase. On the topic of his head, another really unfortunate design choice that I hate is his ears. Instead of doing the regular stitching for the segments in his ear, they just printed them on. This looks really lazy and it's just a really disappointing choice from Funko. Like, I know I could say that a lot, but this is just bad. Another thing making the outfit less flat is that Bonnie actually has the cuffs that Freddy was supposed to have, and it looks so good, especially with his little hands peeking out. Someone give him a pair of gloves, goddamn. The bow tie isn't new, but I did completely forget to mention it with Freddy as it just blends in too well. Here, it's the exact opposite problem. It doesn't blend in at all and is kind of an eyesore. But one thing I can say is that they changed the bow tie's texture to be a soft sweater-like fabric, which is way better than its old rough and scratchy shit. This is really nice, and I hope it's the norm going forward. His shoes actually look good here. The others really couldn't figure them out, just kind of squishing them towards his feet. It was gross. But here, they really proved that this was probably designed to be a plush first and foremost. These are incredible, and I'm a little jealous that Baby never got them. They curl up well, and the little poof ball on the end is great. It's so soft. In fact, all of this plushage with how much fluff he actually has on him, it's a great plush to cuddle with. Turning him around, huh. They didn't bring back his cottontail. That's sad. I mean, yeah, it wasn't accurate to the games, but I really liked it. It was cute and added to his design. But his ass would be just as flat as Freddy if it wasn't for this one line of fluff back here. Why the hell does Bonnie have so much fluff when Freddy has pretty much zero? What gives? Like the others, Bonnie is using an updated design that started with Spring Bonnie. He's given a slight frown instead of his I just ate a bee look of his old plushie, and he is rocking the eye rings. I know people like the Spring Bonnie plush, but I don't know how controversial this opinion is. I am in love with this design! More on Spring Bonnie, of course, as for some reason that slight melancholy look fits them really well. But I will not downplay how amazing the new Bonnie is. I love it. The eye rings I was kind of on the edge about, fucking perfect. It makes him look so cute and gives his face that depth I was talking about. I knew I wasn't crazy. Maybe it's the lack of eyebrows or the lack of the weird, slightly lowered eyelids. Good touch. But Bonnie really works these eye rings and reminds me why I love them so much. And the frown. I know it fits Bonnie a lot less, but he just looks so cuddly. I want to give him a big hug to cheer him up. Sorry, I'm normal, I swear. This is really weird. I don't usually have this kind of reaction to plushies, especially not Funko ones. And I don't even necessarily love Elf Bonnie, but for some reason, I'm just drawn to him. Elf Bonnie, you sucked so much I hardly cared to insult you before. You were small, but now you are more. Are you ready? A 7 out of 10. I desperately wanted to give him an 8, but with how many flaws he still has, I just couldn't justify it. But a 7 also didn't feel right. Okay, I don't do decimals, but in my head, he gets a 7.5, okay? Cool. I'm gonna go hug him until I feel less conflicted about my decision. Be right back. Wow, what a shocking turn of events. A character I've been shitting on all video turns out to be the best plushie yet? I didn't have a lot of hope for Gingerbread Foxy with his turnout being constantly awful and lazy, but maybe, just maybe, he'll actually be pretty good. The weirdest part about the Gingerbread Foxy plush is that he doesn't resemble a gingerbread man at all. Like, the other two were already just Foxy recolored, but the plush format just does not get this idea across at all. With the red nose, the color, and the weird tail they gave him, you'd think he was supposed to be a reindeer Foxy. And honestly, that's for the best. You already know how ass I think Gingerbread Foxy is. I talked about it at length earlier, but with the plushie, I mean, none of those problems return as the style is so radically different. While the theme obviously still sucks, it doesn't matter as much here as the plush actually just looks good. Just the fact that the plush doesn't have withering automatically makes this whole thing much better. Finally, no ugly gray poking out to ruin the design. We're free! The white outlines look nice and the green pants, well, still being an awkward choice, is much better than the others. Or maybe I'm just happy his legs aren't light fucking gray. Instead, his feet have these cute white circles on them. It looks great. The candy cane hook is a little weird looking. Mine will not stay straight no matter what I do. I guess I like the idea. The hilt just looks like a giant marshmallow and I adore it. The brown of the body is overlapping the marshmallow and it looks really cool. It's like they just shoved it into the dough. It's a really simple but a nice detail. It's actually too nice. I'm kind of on the fence if they actually meant to do that or not. So, the weird tail I mentioned earlier sure is weird, but it's like really cute. Someone at the Funko design team must have agreed with me that he looked like a reindeer because this is straight up a deer tail and not Foxy's usual add-on that we see in merch. I think it's adorable and fits the plush amazingly, but it's weird because it's not on purpose. As a tail, and one like this, makes no sense for Gingerbread Foxy. But you know what? I don't care because I quite like it, even if it does hurt my brain thinking about why the plush was given a tail and not the pop of the figure. Rapid fire time! The eye patch isn't oversized or way too small, and while I still don't love it, it does work a bit better. The eye rings are a little awkward, but better than Freddy's. Although the lowered eyelids fits Foxy much more, so I don't really mind it. If he didn't have those buck teeth, he would look really depressed. Honestly, he kinda does anyway. And for the one real complaint I have here, the buck teeth do not work in person. It just looks like he has a split white tongue. I mean, Funko, I thought you learned your lesson with Funtime Foxy. It doesn't look bad. In fact, the teeth are really cute. I love that they're all crooked and not uniform. But it just looks awkward, and no matter how hard you press it down, it will never go flat. Wow. Yeah, I was not expecting Gingerbread Foxy to be the outlier here. He was the worst in every set, and now he's one of the best? He isn't flawless, of course. While I do like him a lot, he is quite boring compared to the other designs. And with all that print on fabric, I can't be bothered to give it past a... Wait a minute. He does have print on fabric, right? I mean, all that white stuff, that's all printed on, right? I mean, why would they suddenly start carrying on just Gingerbread Foxy and... No. Gingerbread Foxy doesn't have any print on fabric past his eye patch. Are you seriously telling me that all of these little white lines and buttons and the pants are all stitched in or fabric? There's no fucking way. Well, I guess you can always be surprised. In fact, Gingerbread Foxy surprised me with how much of a step up this was. It is clear that he was designed as a plush first and was clearly an afterthought with the other sets, which I feel is a sentiment carried through most of these designs. Like Santa, Freddy, and Snow Chica were obviously made to be pops. This may seem like I'm being nice, but Gingerbread Foxy gets an 8 out of 10. If the original design was more fleshed out and worked a little better, I'm sure he could have been an easy 9. But for where we are right now, an 8 is pretty damn nice. this for a plush whose best aspect is not looking like his theme. Yeah, it's kind of sad if you think about it. We're on a roll! Let's not waste any more time here. I loved Elf Bunny and Gingerbread Foxy as plushies, so I must love Snow Chica since she was already great before, right? Well, yes, but not quite in the same way. If you haven't seen this plush yet, I want to have the pleasure of being the first to give you the honor of laying your eyes on it. Are you ready? I am genuinely at a loss for words. How do you start to talk about this thing? Well, I guess I can start with the fact that this thing is nothing like any plush Funko has ever made before this. Like, sure, Liberty Chica shares some similarities, but this thing, whichever way you cut it, does not look like FNaF merch. Nothing here indicates that this is a character from Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. I guess the beak, but even then, if I wasn't a FNaF fan, I could not tell you that that was a beak for a snow chicken. On that same train of thought, this thing is so fucking fluffy. Like, all FNaF plushies are the same material with very few exceptions. But she literally has fur. A character who is 3 smooth balls was given fur. Guys, she actually makes sense to look like that. Why did you make her the most shaggy creature imaginable? The fur is so intense that it actually makes certain details kinda hard to see as it just overtakes everything in its path. The eyes are flat, soulless voids outlined by gray for some reason. Is this supposed to be coal? Out of everything that this plush does wrong, these eyes are the worst. The coal is shiny and flat? What? They don't even feel like the regular eyes. They are that rough bow tie fabric from earlier. The buttons do the same thing, of course, but these look a lot more natural than those empty abysses in her face. I don't know how far this reference is gonna get, but with her shape and the creepy void eyes, this is literally just the TBH creature. Yippee! When I first saw this thing, all I could think about was how much it looked like one of those stuffed animals with those huge eyes that creep adults out. Except more like actually creepy. But the review doesn't stop here. I have so much more to say about this thing. It is incredibly interesting to see how the Funko designers really tried to fit the Snow Chica Pop into a plush. But it is really crazy how much is actually included here. Her body is 3 balls. It's just that that middle one had to be, compressed. It's cool that they didn't cheap out and give her legs. And I like how they achieved the snowman look. Well, if it looked like a snowman, like, at all. They gave her the same rounded bottom that Liberty Chica had, so she has beans in her butt to help her stand upright. Smart thinking. I know I mentioned her beak already, but for some reason it is hard. Like, not completely, like it isn't hard plastic, but it is pretty rough, especially for a plush this cuddly. Speaking of anti-cuddleness, the knit hat she had before was replaced? Why? By a cheap looking top hat. It's that classic gross material the original Freddy had, but now severely understuffed and with some awful printing on it. It actually stands up pretty well and doesn't crumple too much. Honestly, I've seen much worse. But I mean, it still isn't great, especially with that giant ugly seam on the back. Come on. Said texture is a simple cute patch with some really low quality snow on top. The print on these aren't that bad, but why does the hat look so low res? I have to assume it's from printing on black, but really? This bad? The little holly plant is actually a separate piece, just attached. This is really rough and hard and kind of sharp. Why the hell is it sharp? This is the most huggable FNaF plushie out there, but now I get stabbed for leaning into my primal urges. A real monkey's paw situation. I gotta be honest, this is the part that pisses me off the most about this design. I should say that the leaf eyebrows are also kind of sharp, but just not nearly as much. Plus, I don't want to shit on them too much since they actually did a good job translating those. Snow Chica does retain her scarf for some reason, but as this doesn't match with her hat anymore, it only makes this look worse, you know? It doesn't help that it is this super thin material and is only attached at the fold here, which is super obvious, by the way, like you couldn't hide this any better. I do like that technically you could take it off, but that isn't novel enough to save how cheap this looks. Now, if you remember like an hour ago at this point, my least favorite part of the other Chica designs were her weird ass fingerless gloves. So, how are those translated? Take a wild guess. This texture is so bad. Maybe the worst example of print on fabric I've ever seen. The color is way too dark, the pocket is flat and doesn't stand out. The actual pattern is like a grid. Why? These gross ass tumors are just the tip of the problems yanking this plush into bottom tiers. But I haven't even mentioned the weird half circle nub fingers. What? You gave this FNaF plushie fingers? Do you see what I mean when I said this isn't like any FNaF plushie? This thing is insane. I feel like I'm losing my mind. The stitching in the back makes her look like she has a huge ass. Okay. How about we step back and think for a moment? Is there anything I actually like about Snow Chica? Like, not ironic enjoyment. What works here? They gave her brown stitches around her wrist to emulate the exposed part of her stick endo. What? That is so cool! I only noticed this a day before writing this script, as the intense fluff makes it kind of hard to notice if you aren't really looking. This is a genuinely great addition and maybe the only one here. So why do I love this thing so much? Like, yeah, she's really bad. Maybe one of the worst produced plushies Funko has ever made. But tell me why I think she is super charming, funny, and strangely cute. And Ennard is just fucking Ennard. I can't explain it. I look at her and all I can do is think about how cuddly she is and how I just want to show people. But when it really comes down to it, all I can manage as a real pro is one line of stitching I only noticed last night. I tried to not be biased in my ranking, as obviously she is a horrible monstrosity disguised as Snow Chica. But the fact that I actually don't hate it at all was getting in the way of that. I think the only fair thing to do is give Plush Snow Chica a 5 out of 10. Yes, she doesn't deserve that, but I think it's a fair middle ground as I'm kind of obsessed with this thing. How can something be so bad yet so fucking amazing? This one's unfair. And finally, for the last product of the wave and the greater video, the plush of Nutcracker Foxy. Once again, exclusive to Walmart. Okay, exclusive is a weird word since you can just buy him on Funko's website instead, but I guess it just means retail exclusive. Whatever. You know what? I've been pretty negative these last couple entries. So why don't I talk about the good stuff before ripping into the bad, huh? The face on this thing is a work of art. And that is not hyperbole. When I first saw this plush, I was sure that they just took it from the new model tie-dye Foxy had. Wait. No, he doesn't have the eyes or the cheeks. So then I moved to Captain Foxy. It has to be stolen from that. No, still not a match. Are those cheeks completely new? The original plushie had similar cheeks, but they were a lot more simple than they are here. These are completely original to Nutcracker Foxy. I mean, that's awesome, but why? Whatever, they look great and give Foxy that iconic shape of his. It seems that aside from that, this guy picks and chooses parts from all of those variants. The hook and the new eye patch from tie-dye, and the eye rings and better eye patch from Captain. And I like this, picking and choosing the best bits to make the ultimate Foxy face. You probably noticed that his eyes are green, which yes, is super weird that they changed it from Foxy's traditional yellow, but I don't know, green kind of looks good here. They really pop with the rest of the color scheme. Red. Brings that Christmas feel a little closer. In general, the eyes look great. The rings can make him look a bit strange, but I don't think it's that bad. In fact, he looks adorable like this. But I could do without the lowered eyelids. Yes, it fits Foxy, which is why I'm not mad, but I'd rather my plushies look cute and happy and not like he's mad at me for not covering a fart for him. The eye patch perfectly fitting into the socket is kind of funny, but it looks great overall. Better than just a loose black square sitting over nothing. The string is also slightly raised so you can shove your finger in there. Man, it is so nice to appreciate this character after working with this the whole time. I love the goofy mustache and eyebrows. They are honestly awesome and make him stand out really well. And guess what? They aren't printed. Thank God. Even the dumb blush kind of works here. It kind of. They seem to forget his weird dog nose that Foxy usually has and like, good. It looks so ugly. Speaking of inaccuracies, this may seem like a weird compliment, but the muzzle being tan is so cool. In the games, it's just a lighter shade of red and it looks kinda ass. So while I'm glad Funko wants to keep this accurate, I mean, Youtooz proved that tan just looks better. So while I'm okay with this not being the norm, I'm happy that the ultimate Foxy head has it. Oh, and did I forget to mention that he is in orange? But that begs the question, why isn't he orange? As much as I hate that the figure is orange, the red does clash with the suit a little bit. And with these two being the same character, it's really weird that they aren't all that similar. I mean, yes, the body looks like his, but well, I've been putting this off. Being a plush in this wave, the entire outfit is printed on, and it looks just awful. For some reason, this outfit does not fit him. I can't tell you why, but it just looks like a picture of Nutcracker Foxy's torso was stretched over Foxy's body. I can't really add much to just saying that this looks not good. It's flat and fake, and they made the obvious mistake of printing black. It makes his arms and legs stand out as particularly awful. I mean, one of his hands isn't even supposed to be black, and his back is even worse. Wait, really? No lever? Not even a fake printed one? How is this plushie more expensive than usual? And what does it do to earn that? All that he has back here is just the rest of his belt. No tail, no lever, just flat nothingness. Are you even trying? It's really easy to see here, but the red of the suit was printed on as well. And I know this happened with the others, but like, why? Just make the body this color. I have to assume it's to make it look more like clothing or just have a consistent feel to it. But it just makes his entire bottom half look fake and cheap. We haven't even seen the worst of the printing yet. That actually doesn't belong to his body, but that hat. Unlike Snow Chica, this will never stand up straight. It will always be crumpled because for some reason, they decided that they didn't need any stuffing at all. And not even mentioning that giant ugly seam on the back. Did you guys purposefully make his back look bad on purpose? I'm sorry to harp on it, but without that lever, this isn't really a Nutcracker, is it? This is Foxy in a poorly painted on suit. I think it's a little sad that most of my problems with this plush are the parts that make him Nutcracker Foxy. So while I think this is a fantastic Foxy plush, it's just not a good Nutcracker Foxy plush. I'll be giving the final FNaF holiday plushie a bittersweet 6 out of 10. I know I got all negative at the end there, but I do like this plush for the most part. It just kind of lost it when it came to the only part that mattered. It is kind of funny that they had a complete role reversal here. With the figure, I only liked the body. The face was the worst part. But here, I mean, all I care about is the face. And that was everything Funko put out for their holiday 2023 wave. Wow, that took a bit longer than expected, huh? The plushies were a bit of a mixed bag. But to be fair, it really did surprise me. Taking my least favorite theme, ruining my favorite designs from the pop line, and making me like the worst ones. Who could have seen that twist coming? That being said, I'll still be giving the plushes a 6 out of 10. As much as I like them, they really cheaped out here. I can excuse cost cutting if it doesn't affect the product in a meaningful way, but almost all of these designs just slap some ink on them instead of making anything half decent, and I'm not a fan of that. And I think that just about wraps up my review. Man, this really has been up and down. I'll put my final ranking on screen so you can see the variety of my favorites here. Yeah, it's all over the place. So, what did I think about the holiday waves altogether? For the most part, I loved them. Sure, the quality wasn't exactly consistent, and some of these are really lazy. But at the same time, some of these are incredibly creative and a breath of new life into their waves. So yes, you can shit on these for being a cash grab or pointless, but in my opinion, you can't shit on them for not trying. I mean, wow, they really did try as hard as they could to make something awesome. I appreciate it so much. And with the special delivery figures coming to an end and the Ruin merch starting up soon, I'm genuinely excited to see what Funko makes up off the top of their heads next. Please be Halloween. I really miss special delivery. I need more goofy costumes, please. Here is the final tier list. Yeah, this got artificially inflated super fast. I could see an argument for taking these out, but nope, they need to stay. Like I said before, I love seeing how all over the place this is. It's really funny to see Plush Gingerbread Foxy that high next to Youtooz Freddy. Makes me feel like a really good critic. Okay, not really. All good critics have an evil version of themselves. Oh well, maybe next year. Thank you all for watching. I know this was a long one, and I apologize for that. I really did think this was going to be a quick little holiday special. Lesson learned. Never underestimate how long I can talk about seemingly nothing. Huh? Oh, wait, I actually have one last gift. I don't remember wrapping this. Did I end up buying Mega Santa Freddy anyway? Huh, well, we might as well open it. What? The marionette? Oh, wait, don't tell me. My own little silent helper's sidekick? It's a dream come true. So what, you're gonna like bring merch in for me and look cute in the background while also being the occasional friend to bounce jokes off of? Huh, sick. Makes sense with it being the prize corner and all. You got experience. If you all had a differing opinion from mine, which I'm sure you did, you can make your own tier list down below. Just make sure that you send it to me in my Discord server. I'm really curious to see the common consensus here. We will see you next time where we start season 2 of Prize Corner by just reviewing some Youtooz plushies. It'll feel more triumphant when we get there, I swear. See you on the flip side, and happy holidays. He'll clear the table for us.
I'll pull it.
This is what I want it to be every time. I just want it to be really stupid.
Yeah.